My name's Natalie Ratcliffe. I'm a resident in Huddersfield. I live in Slathwaite. I wear two hats, but I'm only wearing one this evening. A lot of people might recognise me. I'm a regional organiser for Unison, the trade union. You might notice a lot of Unison literature around the place. Unison Calderdale and Huddersfield branch have put a lot of time and effort into organising this meeting along with everyone else. We've publicised it and we've paid for the room. So that's where Unison are involved. In terms of chairing this meeting, I'm chairing this in a personal capacity, not as a regional organiser for Unison. So I just wanted to be clear about that from the beginning. So like I said, my name's Natalie Ratcliffe. On my side here is Carl Deach, who I think deserves a huge round of applause for what he's done. This is Rebecca. She's one of the other Facebook admins that's done quite a lot of work as well, and this is Elliot, who's one of the other Facebook admins. They all don't really want to do a lot of speaking, but right, so that's introductions over and done with, really. I just want to mention a few other people that are here. The examiner's here as well, and he's got loads of posters that he wants people to have selfies took with, apparently, that says Save Our A&E on them, so that's back in the campaign as well. And there's also, they're going to do a thunderclap, whatever that is, at some point. Another meeting, a future meeting, hopefully. So, we all know why we're here. We want to save Huddersfield A&E department and obviously prevent the potential closure of the department and the hospital. I just want to add a little bit of information that we've been given. It's come to our attention that yesterday Calderdale and Huddersfield had to shut their A&E departments because for new patients because they were full to capacity, and all admissions had to go to Keighley. So if that's something to go on, then you know that's added a bit of fuel to our fire, if you like. You should all have an agenda in front of you. So what I'm going to do is just run through the agenda. We want to keep the meeting to about an hour, but we've got some speakers, and obviously we're going to open questions up to the floor as well. So we want as much contribution as possible, and obviously as much support for this campaign as possible. And to be clear, we're all standing behind one banner, which is the hashtag HandsOffRHRI. And I would like to think that everybody in this room is behind this. It's one campaign. You know, there's no other agendas. There's cross-political support for it all from the council, from our local MPs. So let's be clear, it's one campaign. No, not factions, just one. So I hope you're all behind that. Right. Obviously, I've mentioned to you that there's been some admins on the Facebook page, which I'm one of. And so we felt that would form a committee. But what we also want to do is have a proper committee with a chair, a treasurer and a secretary. And we wanted that to be ratified by this committee. Now, there's been lots of things said about this to me prior to the meeting about how I shouldn't sit on it, which I'm happy not to, but I will be a committee member. Sorry. Why not? Because people think... There's some people in the room that think I've got ulterior motives, but there you go. But so what we're wanting to do is nominate a chair, a secretary, and treasurer. Pardon? No. Can I just stop you there? This is one meeting. You will have a chance to speak later. You will have your chance. Right. We want to elect. We want to elect a chair, a treasurer and a secretary. So in the first instance, we'd like to elect a chair. Now, firstly, I would like to nominate Carl to be the chair of the committee, and I'd like a seconder for that, please. Do we have a seconder for that? Brilliant, we've got several. Right, okay. Can you give your name? We would also like to elect a secretary. If
I'd like to nominate Rebecca.
And could somebody second that, please? Michael Kennedy. And then a treasurer, we'd like to nominate.
Elliot. Elliot.
Can we have a seconder for that, please? There will be a wider committee that we will want people to participate on. I want to be on it, as I'm sure there are lots of people in this room that would like to be on it, because lots of people have got lots of different skills. So what we will do is organise a meeting perhaps next week of the committee where people can come along and attend, and we'll take it from there. I will take some questions. Well, I mean, we've just put a vote to a public meeting, and we need to move on with this because we're developing a campaign. I mean, if okay, can you hear me? Right, okay, we have elected Carl Deach as chair, Rebecca Cobb as secretary, and Rebecca, Carl.
I am a local resident. I'm a local resident. I'm the president of the town centre WI, and that is it, yes. What was that, sorry? Ah.
Hang on a sec. We're going to take questions later. We need to ratify this.
Okay. Is that the microphone anywhere?
It's up there.
Hello. Right, okay, so I'm Carl, and I'm the person that came up with a Facebook page, up to 40,000 people now, so that's who I am. So I'd like to I don't really want to speak that much tonight because I want to absorb everything and trying to take things in because this is completely new to me. So I'll sit here and absorb, and just please, if you have any questions, please ask them and give Natalie a little break as well. Cheers, thank you.
Hi, my name's Elliot and I'm a local resident, lived here all my life and just wanted to try and make a difference and get this going. Hinchliffe, Elliot Hinchliffe. Thank you.
We explained. Can I just say, I'm chairing this meeting. You will get a chance to ask questions. Yeah, well, if you look at the agenda, we're going to come on to that. Right. We want to talk briefly about the run-up to this, and Paul Cooney, who's been involved in this campaign for a lot longer than we have, I'd like him to come up and just talk briefly about the run-up to the campaign, if you like, and how we've got to where we are now. Is that okay? So this is Paul Cooney.
Good evening, all. Can you all hear me all right at the back? Right. I hope you understand the Scottish accent as well. It's quite ironic because although I'm going to give you a brief journey as to how we've got to here, and it goes back quite a few years now, it doesn't affect Scotland. It affects England because all the other health administrations in Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland are devolved, and they've not gone down the route that we've now found ourselves in. So let me just clarify that. I've just retired last year, having worked for Calderdale and Huddersfield NHS Foundation Trust in the field of clinical governance, and then specifically clinical audit. One of the speakers that's going to come after me, Adnan Mohammed, is a consultant paediatrician I worked very closely with in the field of work. I'm going to go back to the winter of 2012, early 2013, because that's when the proposals about this really radical reconfiguration of the hospital services in terms of Calderdale Royal and Huddersfield Royal Infirmary first came to light, at least internally within the Trust, but it was only a matter of weeks before it came into the public arena. You're probably aware that at the time the Trust made it, in terms of, sorry to use the word, but they were spinning it as the whole idea, the suggestion for the total reconfiguration came from the staff. It did not. I refute that completely. It came from the board. It came from the medical director. It came from 2 senior matrons and a couple of other very senior consultants. It did not come from the staff. And when the staff were first apprised of these moves, we were totally shocked, and we had no inkling whatsoever that these plans were in the offing. I'm also here as secretary of a group that we set up at that time called Huddersfield Keep Our NHS Public. It's a pro-NHS campaign. It believes in a public NHS, publicly funded, publicly managed and publicly accountable to the communities they serve. So we started to organise against that. We put together a petition, which, I must be clear on this, was no cuts to accident and emergency services in Huddersfield and Halifax. And although I fully applaud the banner of this organisation about hands off HRI, hashtag I think is the term we used before that, I'd like to see that extended, that we are in favour of the full facilities at Halifax as well. Thank you. The main reason I'm saying that is that if we play into the hands of the senior NHS management who are driving this through, not just locally but nationally, it's divide and rule. And if we do us and them, that's exactly what we're doing, is we're providing them with ammunition. We can't afford that to happen in this campaign. Thank you. I don't have a lot of time, and I could seriously speak for an hour on this, but I'll go through some basics. When the proposals were first put forward, of course, until extremely recently, the so-called hot site, in other words, hot site, the acute and trauma care, with fully functioning A&E and intensive care units and everything else that's associated with it, was supposed to be Huddersfield. Now, with our work in Huddersfield Keep Our NHS Public, which is, I've got to pay credit to a very small band of 8 or 9 activists who've been working Saturday after Saturday after Saturday in town in all weathers collecting petition signatures about this, and we've now got over 8,000. So congratulations to them, and they've really been supportive. But when that was the proposal, the clinical commissioning groups, and I'm sorry to use the term, but I can't describe it in any other way, they were going to go to full public consultation in July to September 2014. Not what's ahead of us, February to May 2016. They were intent on going ahead with that consultation. Now, that was stopped, partly because of the campaigning that was going on, and let me just say that we were campaigning in connection also with campaigning colleagues in Northkirk, Leesford, Dewsbury, and in the Halifax and Calder Valley areas. We worked together.
Can we just move it? Sorry to rush you, but we've got...
I'm sorry, it just takes a little time.
I know.
Right, just moving on then. We have this situation where they've changed their mind. Now, the reason they've changed their mind, I've got to be absolutely clear on this, is because of financial pressures. We are facing in CHFT a financial deficit of 25 million this year. We had to find 20 million of the 14-15 budget and a further 19 million from the current 15-16 budget. The annual budget for CHFT is around about the 300 million mark. So you're talking between 6 and 7% cuts. That's the reality of the situation. Monitor, which is the regulating authority for the foundation trusts, were brought in the middle of last year, because of the Trust's dire financial position, and they have directed the Trust. They brought in external consultants, Ernst & Young, it cost an awful lot of money, and they've revamped the 5-year plan. Monitor and Ernst & Young made it very clear in a meeting that I was at of the Council Oversight Scrutiny Panel that they had to maximise the revenue from the PFI site. And at that time, that's when my mind was starting to whir over and realised Huddersfield was now going to be the target site for planned elective care only, and Halifax was going to be the hot site. That's why we were starting to get a bit edgy and worried about this, but also from the basis of our colleagues in Halifax and in North Kirklees, because the Dewsbury A&E is closing in September this year, we knew this is going to have a major effect on us. We have an awful lot to do to work together. The consultation starts soon. There's been a draft plan that I posted on the Let's Save Huddersfield A&E, HRI A&E, on the Facebook page today, and we will talk in a bit more detail tonight, I believe, about how we may formulate responses to that. Can I just say, when I talked about the 8,000 signature HComp petition, there is also 38 Degrees petitions and other ones. The government one, which we've been promoting and pushing, is extremely important, and I urge everybody to do that. The profile aspect of that is amazing for us. But in terms of response to the consultation, the local paper petitions are also valuable, so don't sign one to the exclusivity of the other. Let's all work together, and thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. Right, we've got some other speakers this evening that have very kindly said they'd come along to speak. So I'd like to call Erin up, who's a Labour councillor for Kirklees Council.
Thank you, everyone. Can you all hear me at the back? So thank you for inviting me to speak to you here tonight, and thank you to everybody who's put in a lot of time to organise the campaign and to organise this meeting. So as Natalie said, my name's Erin Hill. I'm a Labour councillor for the Crosslandmoor and Netherton ward, and I'm also the Cabinet Member for Family Support and Child Protection. And I have to say that it's really great to see so many elected representatives of all parties, students, so many local residents and trade unionists here tonight. I've been involved in quite a lot of campaigns in my time, and it is rare to see people pulling together like I know they have over this issue. Because it has long been my belief that if we fail to take an interest in events and in politics and in the actions of our authority figures, then actually all we're doing is walking blindfolded into decisions that other people have made for us. So it's been absolutely fantastic to see this campaign, because the people organising it are not only well informed, but actually people have sought to inform each other along the way. And forewarned is forearmed, because I do a lot of work with various bits of the NHS. And I have to say that it's not the easiest organisation to find your way around. There's all sorts of bits of bureaucracy and acronyms and jargon that are quite difficult to get your head around. So it's really great to see people making the effort to do that. I'd like to start off with a personal story, if I may. I have a younger sport-obsessed brother. He's not here tonight, so I feel quite safe in saying that we've spent our fair share of time in A&E over the years. But it wasn't really until this summer when I understood how important it is that we have hospitals and an NHS that's fit for purpose. I have a godson who is 5 months old, and at 7 months pregnant, my cousin was admitted to Huddersfield A&E with what she thought were low iron levels. She was actually suffering from an advanced kidney infection, and she was admitted to HRI, given antibiotics, and kept overnight for observation. At 4 o'clock that morning, she went into labour despite the best efforts of the staff to prevent it. And because it was now a premature, complicated birth, she was told that she was going to have to be transferred to Calderdale. Now, that wasn't too much of a difficulty. We'd always known there was a chance that she was going to have to give birth in Halifax. So she was transferred over there and given a bed. At 7 o'clock that morning, I had a phone call from her mother in a state of absolute panic, because the baby's lungs and heart weren't functioning and they weren't as developed as they needed to be, and he was going to need an intensive care bed. That was bad enough, but the NICU in Calderdale was full, There were no more beds with the equipment that he was going to need if he was going to survive. And she was going to have to be transferred again to a different hospital. We were told that that was going to be somewhere in West Yorkshire. So we waited for an hour, and eventually the phone call came through. They'd found a bed, they'd found a hospital that could take mother and baby. The bad news was that it was in Stockport. And they were waiting. When I got this phone call, my aunt was boarding the ambulance that was going to take them there. We waited for an hour to give the ambulance time to arrive, and then we set off from my mum's house in Huddersfield. We beat the ambulance there. We were waiting for half an hour in hospital reception before being told that the transfer had arrived. Now, that story does have a happy ending, because within half an hour of the arrival, my cousin had had an emergency caesarean, her son was doing well, and the midwife told us that everything should be fine. But I'll not ever forget what she said next. "I'm a mother," she said, "and I've been a midwife for nearly 20 years. And in this day and age, there is no excuse for a woman turning up at hospital in such a state." Because to me, that's what this campaign's about. It's not about political parties tearing lumps out of each other. It's not about one group undermining the efforts of another. It's not about any sort of ego battle. It's about making sure that nobody suffers any more than they have to. Because we are the most fortunate generation that's ever lived in terms of medical advances. People are living longer, they're living healthier lives. Many diseases have been completely eradicated. Some others are no longer the life-threatening death sentence that they might once have been. Our understanding of science, of health, and of medicine is better than it's ever been. And I think we need to keep that focus. But it is also really important that we stick together on this. And we've got to hold our nerve, because Huddersfield is just the latest of nearly 70 hospitals nationally to face closure or a downgrade. And that includes Dewsbury, which was justified on the grounds that there was a full A&E department in Huddersfield.
Erin, can you just speed up?
Sorry, yeah.
We've got
So I think I've seen some really welcome posts on social media about supporting campaigns elsewhere, particularly in Lewisham, where a government decision was successfully overturned. And I'd really echo that tonight, because we do need to see the bigger picture. And that's why I was really pleased to see all 4 of our Kirklees MPs committing time and effort to get this issue debated in Parliament and brought in front of the Health Secretary. Because I do want to make one thing clear, and I know you're short of time, so I will wrap this up, but this is absolutely a political fight. The argument about HRI, the arguments about Calderdale, about Dewsbury, about PFI, about cuts to the NHS, they are political arguments. We're talking about health, about resources, about our rights, about geography, finance, economics. And I suspect that every single person in this room, including myself, has their own opinions about what caused the problem, about what various governments have done to help or hinder the NHS. And all those things are political. And I've said it before, I don't think that political is a dirty word. I'm a politician, and I'm absolutely proud to use what political influence I've got to support causes that I think are right, and to oppose proposals that could leave Kirklees without any A&E provision whatsoever. But we need to stop this campaign becoming an internal battlefield. At our last full council meeting, councillors of all parties who were eligible to vote supported this campaign, and I think it is a strength of our NHS that the will to defend it is present in so many different groups and parties and sectors. And that's not to say that things should never change, but they need to be done properly, not on a shoestring budget.
Erin, can we move on now? Thanks very much, sir. Thank you.
We've just got a few more speakers, but I'd like to call Sean up. I'm sure you'll all know who Sean is when he gets up, but he's a local celebrity now. He's been on Look North, calendar.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Good evening. I've been dragged up here to tell my sob story again. It's now becoming a little bit emotional every time I say it, and what happened back in May 2013. Basically, I was 94% dead. I had a sudden cardiac arrest at Greenhead Park. I was saved by the prompt action that day in the Cuggan, Emma Spencer. Both, one's a GP and one's a nurse at HRI. Would she still be in a job tomorrow if it was shut? I don't know. Also, the ambulance station was directly opposite the park. Another factor that relied on me coming round. In addition to that, the examiner on the day reported they actually got airlifted to Leeds. That, I don't remember that trip because it never happened. I would have been dead. So one of my close running buddies, Simon Edwards, went in the ambulance with me and kept talking to me, although I don't remember any of that either. The first thing I knew, this happened at 8:30 on a Saturday morning, by the way. I woke up on the Sunday afternoon to be told I'd had a double heart attack, a cardiac arrest. I'd been in an ice-induced coma for 36 hours, and I'd been on a Lucas 2 machine, which only came into the hospital the day before, and I was the first guy on it, and it wasn't even bought and paid for. And I only found that out later as well. So, putting all this together, you couldn't write the script. I'm one very lucky individual, and for that, I'll always remember what's happened. So, please give it your all and support this campaign like they've saved me.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. Thank you. We've got just a couple more now. I'd like to call Jenny Goldman, who's a young person from Home and Combe Valley Youth Forum, who would like to come up and say a few words. Thanks.
Hiya, I'm a little surprised to be asked to speak today, so I'll keep it brief. I represent young people in the Home and Combe Valleys between the ages of 13 and 19. As a group, we aren't associated with a particular party. We're more for the cause of getting as many young people involved in politics as possible. Young people need their A&E, and we have never received such levels of support from our young people on any issue. I've been speaking to all of our members. One of our 15-year-olds said that I'm worried if anything happens to me or my friends, we'll have to be on buses for nearly 2 hours. And one of our 13-year-olds said, if you have an accident, you can't be stuck in traffic to get to Halifax A&E. We need the whole community of all ages to get involved, and this group of people is 100% behind you.
Thank you very much. Right, I'd like to ask Dr. Adnan Mohammed to come and speak, please.
Thank you very much, my friend, for inviting me, and thanks for inviting me to come here. I consider myself to be a resident of this wonderful city, Huddersfield. And really, for me, I'm privileged to work, for good 22 years within Calderdale and Huddersfield NHS Trust. And I would like, as I work, with children as a pediatrician for a good number of years, I feel I have to give voice for the children of the area. Sorry, is that okay? Yeah. So I would like to give, if I am allowed to give a voice for the children of the area. The children, the number of the children from the population is almost, 50 or 60,000, children in the area. And I feel, a lot of people might feel or argue, does it matter if it is the A&E is only 5 or 6 miles away? In fact, this is not correct from a doctor point of view. Because the children is a special group. I know the elderly is a special group. I know the senior people is a special group. I know the women is a special group. But for the children to sustain, sort of illness, it is different from other people. Because, for example, if you or me lose half a pint of blood, perhaps we will survive. And in fact, we will survive. But children, if they are going to lose half of this amount, it could be a matter of death or life. So it does matter. We need to get a good, well-equipped, well-staffed A&E department. And that is really, I have seen it many, many times. I involve myself in resuscitating children. I know for a fact Still, my friend, honestly, I remember their faces. I remember many names of them. I cannot, for confidentiality, to know their names or to tell you their names. I know those children, if they are 3-4 minutes more in their way to a different place, whether Calderdale or Dewsbury or Leeds, it could be a different story. And I know many children who are alive, thank goodness, because there is a local difference between life and death. And I know in children, coming from, different places, stop breathing or their heart stopped, and it makes a difference if we resuscitate them here. I would like really, the time, is very limited, but I would like to really to comment 1 or 2 points if the chairman will allow me. I would like to give you a bit of cautious note because some of the speakers mentioned, we haven't got, we need some sort of A&E in Huddersfield. I don't think we are after some sort of, A&E. We need proper A&E department still, I am sorry. I'm sorry because I feel absolutely passionate about this subject. We need a proper A&E to serve the whole community, the whole people. You might say, why you feel passionate about it? Because I know a little bit of children's services in Huddersfield is okay, and the other children being transferred to Calderdale. And I know from my work in the department, this is not serving the best interest of the children. I don't like to talk about tragedies or missed death or missed, and, ill health, what would they call it, morbidity or mortality death, because it is half-baked services in Huddersfield for children. And that is wrong, morally is wrong. And you have to voice yourself within your colleague, within the department, within the hospital. But unfortunately, we need to be united to voice our views on the matter. We need a proper A&E, we need well-equipped, well-staffed, and that is the only way forward in the 21st century.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I'd just like to call now Leanne from the Students' Union, and then we're going to move forward with the agenda. I want to just say that later on in the agenda there'll be time for questions and we'll open it up to the floor. But thank you very much, Leanne.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, first I'd like to say I'm really honoured to be able to speak up here on behalf of all the students at the university. I think one of the main starting points that I'd like to say is that in the CCG report, in the 200 and odd pages that they wrote, not once were our students mentioned, which I think is absolutely diabolical. Yes. It is. Last year, our executive officers did a survey and a report with our students, and it was called This Matters. So what does it matter to our students? And the second biggest thing that interests and passionate with our students is the healthcare. It was the second biggest thing above fees and accommodation was healthcare. And I think this is probably one of the biggest points that we need to get across to the CCG. Students are already facing tough times with cuts and fee increases, and I think by doing this is just going to suffocate more students at Huddersfield, and we are one of the big influences in the economy in this town. So I start by saying, why is the A&E important to students? Well, I'll tell you for why. We've got numerous amounts of students that take placements at the A&E. We've got healthcare and midwifery students. They're already facing NHS bursary cuts. What's going to happen to them? Are our courses going to stop? Does that mean less students for Huddersfield? Will this degree even matter if PFI continue to take over? Secondly, we have copious amounts of sports and societies, many of high-risk sports. God forbid if one of our students face a high-risk emergency or injury playing football or American sport, where would they go if A&E was shut down? Does that mean a life would be taken from the next generation? And thirdly, it's used on a day-to-day basis for students. We are clumsy, we like to go out, so, you know, we do need an A&E. It's vital for us. So a lot of you are probably going to ask me, what are we as students doing already to support this campaign? Well, as you already know, we were very voiced and very vocal at the CCG meeting last week, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you that gave us a lovely feedback, but that's just the start of us. Us students are going to drive this campaign. We're going to get behind every single one of you residents, and we are going to have a mass movement to show that we need an A&E in this town.
Just another minute, all right.
Yeah. So Mike has asked me that what do we want to see as students, just to tell you guys. We want unity with you. We want to work with you, we want to drive it, we want to tackle the PFI, because if we don't, they're going to keep coming and taking back more and more services. So we want to come together with the whole community. United we stand, divided we fall. So if anyone has any quirky ideas to get a viral video going out, please message myself or any executive officers, and we'll be happy to make it go viral. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all our speakers tonight. I think you've all been absolutely fantastic. Thank you. I want to move on with the agenda now. And on point number 4, we've got fundraising. Now, we want to make it clear that obviously we need to raise money for this campaign, because we need to be able to pay for leaflets, banners, all that kind of thing. At the moment, we haven't opened a bank account yet, because we've only just elected a treasurer. I understand that there are some buckets at the back for a collection, but what's worrying us is that we've nowhere to deposit the money at the moment. So we are going to obviously start to do some fundraising, but we need to open a bank account first, and once all that's up and running, then we will publicise what we're doing for fundraisers. For example, there's a lot of local bands that have approached us to say that they want to do something like a Live 8 kind of event, that kind of thing, to raise money, which should be really good because it could involve a lot of young people in the community as well. So if anybody else has got any fundraising ideas, then we're happy to take them on board. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, moving on then. Point number 5. We understand that a march had been arranged for the 6th of February, so we wanted to put it to this meeting to find out if you think a march would be appropriate to march behind the banner of like #SaveOurHRI. We wanted to put it to the meeting to see what everybody thought and if everybody would be prepared to turn up to a march at such short notice. So I put it out there. Do you want to have a march? Yes. Right. So that was unanimous then, yeah? Behind the banner of #HRI, obviously, yeah? Okay. You what? Do you want to take a vote on that then? All those in favour of a march, put your hands up. I think that's pretty much unanimous. Right, okay, so we will be doing that, so we'll obviously have to organise that and publicise it and speak to the police as well, who are at the back of the room. Can we take questions, sorry, further down? Is that all right? Because we've got a section for it, and I'm concerned about time as well. I want to move on to point number 6, because on Friday there's a meeting of the Joint Scrutiny Committee, which is going to be held at 10:30 at Huddersfield Town Hall. The Scrutiny Committee is made up of members of Kirklees Council and members of Calderdale Council. Now, at this meeting of this scrutiny panel, the CCG representatives are going to go and give them probably the same presentation that we had at Briar Court. So what we're wanting is we're obviously wanting to lobby this meeting. So we want as many people outside, if you like, to show that we want to save our A&E. And then we'll also need a deputation inside as well. Do you want to come and speak again about that, Paul, or? I will be there. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we will be there. I'll be there. So, but we'd like some people to be outside with banners and things. So if people could come along and support that, it'd be really good. 10:30. But if you get there for about 10, yeah, and then we can lobby people as they're going in. Right. Here we go now. Number 7. Questions. Right. First person over there. We're going to bring the mic over. We might not be able to answer all your questions, but we'll do our best.
Right. My name's Pat Jones. Is it okay? Yeah, I was brought up in Huddersfield. I live in Slough. I'm also here from Slough SOS because, and it is relevant, that our surgery in Slough, it's been threatened with a 44% cut, which actually threatens the very existence of the surgery. Now, across Huddersfield, there's proposed 55% cuts. So I think we all need to be asking what's happening at our surgeries and pull that together, because obviously that if we have our surgeries cut, that's going to affect the A&E and put more pressure on A&E. Now, the other thing is because of winter, I tend to watch more TV, and I watched last week, I don't know whether anyone else did, a programme on the Cayman Islands, which is a tax haven, and there are billions and billions of pounds of money evaded in taxes going to those countries. I saw another programme on super yachts where people didn't know how to spend the money they had that much. I saw one on rich kids, where some girl...
Can we move on? Because lots of people want to speak.
Right, it is relevant. The point I'm making is there is money out there. A lot of the money is going to the people who are being paid out on the PFIs, and that has a direct effect on what's happening in Huddersfield and Calderdale.
Thanks, Pat. Can we pass it on now, because we haven't got time.
Just the question is, I'm really glad that our MPs are supporting this campaign. That's fantastic. My question is, are they going to fight for more funding to NHS England so that we can have a properly, publicly funded health service in Britain?
Thank you. Nick, have your hand up.
Hi, I'm Alison McCain. I just wanted to bring up a point that was brought up by the Examiner. I think, by the way, the Examiner have done a wonderful job on covering the campaign so far. And thanks for being here tonight. I just wanted to bring up the point that since Mike Ramsden went public as he's chaired, the new chair, he's only been in the role just over, well, it'll be just coming up to a year next week, of the NHS Yorks and NHS Trust. Whether he's invited to be on the committee, a number of us think that a clinician needs to be on the committee to deal with the clinicians in the CCG. If it's applicable, if it can be done. I don't know if there's a conflict of interest, but I did think because he's gone public and he hasn't lost his job yet, maybe we should ask him.
Thanks. Rebecca, pass it there, and then we'll move forward.
Nick Ruff, I'm chair of the local Kirklees Unison local government branch, bringing solidarity from 11,500 members. 2 questions. One is part of the campaign to call for the scrapping of PFI, not a penny more, for the private companies that are squeezing money out of the public sector? And secondly, is that I think it's incredibly important. When Natalie said at the beginning of the meeting she should be on the committee, I think she should be on the committee because she should be representing Unison, the biggest union in the campaign, because if Unison members are not fighting to keep the hospital open, it'll make it difficult. So my question is, I think we need to involve the trade unions in the campaign, call on the trade unions to make contributions and get behind the campaign. But I think we need to follow the tradition of the young doctors, and I think we should have young doctors involved, because it is going to be industrial action that saves the hospital, despite how many petitions we get. So I think it's an important aspect to the campaign.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you. you give your name when you speak, please?
Of course I can. My name's Eileen, and there's just 2 points very quickly, and 2 very fundamental points. I read in the Examiner tonight about a bloke from Golka, I think his name was Steve Dyson, about the Hippocratic Oath, and about doctors having to be there to serve the purpose and the fundamental well-being of people. And also the idea that our young people, the NUS, National Union students, we have 22,000 students.
Can you ask a question? Because it is for questions, isn't
yes,
it?
I know it's...
Yeah.
But where has the Hippocratic Oath gone? And also, the NUS, they've had cuts in their health centre. So they now are facing not only the idea that they don't have an A&E, possibly, but they've also had the mental health and the sexual health cuts in their health centre. So where is the funding going? So please...
Well, we can't actually answer that question.
I know you can't.
Yeah, but we can take your questions forward.
But what I'm saying is, yes, just jab them in the back. Do what you can to say, excuse me.
Can we take another question, Rebecca? There's the gentleman here at there.
I'm Chris Marsden. I live in Longwood. I'm the chair of the local Huddersfield Civic Society, and we've already resolved to give the campaign our support. I would like the meeting to call the resolve to ask every community group, whatever its religious or sporting or youth or older people interests, every group, every community organisation ought to resolve to support this campaign. I hope the meeting will call for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Rebecca.
Hi, my name's Jeff Potter. I'm just a local resident, but the question's really about the strategy. I'd be interested to see if there's anyone from the Yorkshire Evening Post here tonight, or the Huddersfield Examiner. Yeah, thank you very much. Yorkshire Television, the BBC, and I think those people really need to be at a meeting like this. So can we invite Jeremy Hunt to a question time in Huddersfield? The man with the best rhyming slang in the world. So it is about strategy, really. Yeah. And the other question is the proposed new hospital without the A&E in Huddersfield. Is that going to be funded by PFI?
That's one of our questions as well.
So it's really getting the media involved.
We are. We've got a media strategy, and we are working with the media. We've been working closely with the Examiner. Carl's been on Calendar, and so twice. I've been on Calendar once. We tried to get on Look North, but they wouldn't let us on. But we are, we have got a media strategy.
Well, we do pay the licence fee for the BBC, so they should let us on, shouldn't they?
Thank you. Yeah. Right. Do you want to move over that side, Rebecca? This gentleman here. Whoever's got that. Yeah.
I don't know much about strategy, but my name's Marlene from Meltham. I just want to know, does it mention anything about the football stadium that has 24,500 people? Just a question.
Right, yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if we've filled this room, we can give it a go.
My name is Andrew Alden. I'm from Linthwaite. I'm a member of the Labour Party, and I've also run my own business for 21 years. So I'm a capitalist, so everybody hates me. The point about this is, what I'm very worried about this campaign is that there are a huge swathe of Huddersfield population that we are not reaching. We have social media. We have many, many people who are not on that. We spend our time talking to ordinary people in shops and getting ignored and all the rest of it, but it doesn't really matter. The thing that has been mentioned is some of the other groups that have not actually been reached. We should, in fact, be looking at the various religious groups that we've got. We've got 3 mosques here, Hindu temple, Sikh temple. We haven't got a synagogue, but we've got the Methodists and all the rest of them. We've got the other group. Good.
Yeah, we're on it. We're on it.
The other question is, the group that falls into that category of non-communication are in fact people like me, with grey hair, the older ones. There are a lot of older people whose voice is not being reached, and there are a lot of signatures that can be taken if we can get into that side of the community.
Thank you. I just want to say as well, people have been taking petitions round local estates, knocking on doors, asking people to sign. There's people being stood in town in the rain, trying to get signatures for people that we can't reach on social media. So we are trying to reach all groups, we really are. But, you know, we need your support as well to do all this. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, we'll sort that out. You've got to remember this is the very beginning of the campaign, so yeah, we will.
My name is Mike Foster. I was chair of the campaign from 10 years ago to try and prevent the movement of services to Halifax, and also I was chair of the campaign in Dewsbury to stop the closure of the A&E. And I spoke on Saturday and I asked the crowd the question, and I want to ask you all the question as well. Why did we lose? Because we lost. And the reason we lost, it's a rhetorical question, is because there weren't enough of us. 600 of us marched from the hospital down into town 10 years ago. 2,000 of us marched round town, but there weren't enough of us. So I'm asking you all, don't leave it to these guys. Please do something yourself. Everything.
Thank you.
Thank you. Everything that you do will count. The other question I want to ask, and it's a rhetorical question, and this is what people are saying to us on the streets, is this a done deal? Are we wasting our time?
No, it's not. That's why we're here. It's not a done deal. We've got to fight it. That's why we're all here.
Thank you for the answer. I'm asking you that question, and have that argument with everybody on the streets. This is not a done deal. We can win.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm Helen Kingston and I'm from Halifax, but I was born in A&E in Huddersfield. My question is, are we going to have a presence in Halifax? There's a big argument online that people from Halifax aren't signing. We are. Catherine Horn has been fighting this since it was Halifax A&E that was going to close. How many Huddersfield residents signed it then? The ball's in your court now. Everyone needs to get together, stop fighting people from Halifax. We're on your side.
Thank you. We'll just take a couple more because it's 8 o'clock and we need to move on with everything, really.
Good evening. My name's Mark Wickerdine, just a resident. I'd really like to know, can or does the local council take a view on this or a stand on this?
The local council are backing the campaign. They've all said, oh, Erin can answer, yeah.
It's just that I don't see many local councillors.
Erin's a local councillor.
Thank you. We had a full council meeting
Can we have one meeting?
We had a full council meeting either last week or the week before where we agreed to hold an emergency meeting where this would be the only item discussed. At that council meeting, we passed a resolution agreeing to oppose any proposals that would leave Kirklees without any A&E provision and to have that discussion at the emergency council meeting where all councillors would be able to work together to come up with our position on that. I know there are a few other councillors here So I don't know if any of them want to add anything to that, but I would say that at the moment we're taking a united position, which is that we will support, oppose proposals that would leave us without an A&E.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you. We'll take 2 more questions. Go right to the back, because nobody's been taken from the back.
Hiya, I'm Esther, I'm just a local resident. My main 2 questions, is there anyone here from the people that are proposing this change? I don't know if there is. And 2, what about the practicalities of the whole move? Because the whole point of an emergency service is time. I'm sure the gentleman with the heart attack will agree, it's most important basically just to get there in a amount of time, and it's just not practical to get to Halifax if you are in a life-endangering position. So that's my hope. Well, question.
I wouldn't have thought there's anybody here from CCGs this evening, but if there are, please do make yourself known. But there will be somebody from CCGs there on Friday, so if you turn up to that meeting. We're trying to get... Yeah, I understand.
Hi. What would be really interesting, my name's Jason, what would be really interesting for me and the rest of the people in the audience are, what I'd actually like to hear is, somebody mentioned the word strategy. The 3 people that are sat up there, what is your strategy moving forward in this large collection of people who've given up their time tonight to come here? Because actually, for 45 minutes, I've heard people talking. I haven't heard very much from the other 2 people on your wing, and I haven't heard the plan and strategy moving forward.
I'll be quite right. OK, I'll answer that question for you.
So that would be useful to hear that for a start.
Right. Would you like me to answer then?
Do.
Yeah, right. Well, my answer to that is that we're just devising a strategy at the moment because this campaign is in its infancy. We wanted to elect a campaign committee, which we've done. We want people from the wider public to join this committee, and then we can develop a strategy. You have to remember they've not even announced the consultation period yet. It looks like it's going to be started in February. So my answer to that is, if people want to help us develop a strategy, because we haven't got one yet as such, we're doing what we can, if you like. It's 11 days old.
I mean, as I say, as you rightly pointed out, you've self-elected yourselves tonight. If we look at the Kirklees...
No, we absolutely...
Hang on a minute. What I would like to say... No, Natalie, what I'd like to say... What I would like to say is that...
You did!
I don't actually believe that the people there are representative of residents in Kirklees.
We all live in Kirklees. We all live in Huddersfield.
Multi-diverse. I see a very white audience up there. I don't see anything else. So if you're having a campaign, then that should be representative of all those people, and it's not.
Can I just say, I'm very verbal on Facebook, and I am going on all over Kirklees at the moment, and that just strikes up a chord with me. Unfortunately, it only started a month ago. It is very much in its infancy, and I think we need to give everybody a good go. If you need to have a say, let's say it, but don't start an argument over it, because this is not what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Chris Owen, and I want to make a suggestion. It's been brought up about the strategy. I've already started my own. I've reached over to the other side of the Pennines with contacts, with trade unionists, people in the health service. They are prepared to come and fight with you. OK? That's the first point. Second is, let's micro it. I live in Upper Cumberworth, and we can get meetings up there, Denby Dale, Upper Cumberworth. Get smaller meetings and get people engaged in this. That's how we're going to win. Think about Obama. That's what he did, and that's how we're going to win. By the way, I'd like to be on the steering committee. I've got great ideas.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. Right, one more question. What we're going to do is, from this meeting, we obviously didn't know how many people were going to turn up tonight. We didn't know what was going to happen this evening. So what we're going to do is organise a steering committee meeting next week, and it will be publicised. We'll publicise it on social media, leaflets, all that kind of thing. And people that want to come along, that have got all these ideas, then they need to come along to that so that we can develop a strategy. Because us three we can't do it all on our own. See us at the end and we'll get your names. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we need. We need people's expertise. Everybody's got different skills and that's what we need.
This country's in a mental health crisis due to cuts to services. The only way under 18s can access help outside office hours is to go to their local A&E. That covers 3-year-olds right up to 17-year-olds. How are we meant to get a 6-foot-tall 17-year-old lad in a mental health crisis, severe panic attacks to Calderdale?
Absolutely, thank you.
Hi, they've let me loose with the microphone at last. Can I just say, I'm not a chair of anything except my own home and my own Huddersfield town. I was born and bred here. I'm so clumsy the amount of time I spent in A&E, either with myself or one of my 3 children. And can I just say, I second that, love. My son, I'm sorry, he suffers very badly with anger. And I cannot get help for him. I've banged my head on every single wall going, and I cannot get my son any help. He's 11. If I don't get it now, what's going to happen to him in future? And I'm not just thinking that way, but I'm thinking for everybody else's kids. I've had to travel to Bradford with a broken jaw. Do you know how painful that is? I had morphine. If that ambulance couldn't have given me any morphine, I would not have managed that. And that's me, a 37-year-old mum that's been through labour 3 times. You know, how can a child cope with that? And not just that, I live behind Syngenta. What's going to happen if anything happens there? What's their emergency plan that includes Huddersfield A&E? Can we find that out off of anybody? The same goes for white chemicals in Linthwaite.
Those are the questions that we will pose to them, absolutely.
That's what I would like you to put that forward for me, and obviously for everyone that lives within the vicinity.
Right, I think we're going to... 2 more, and then that's it. Because we need to draw it to a close.
Hi, I'm Jackie Grunsell. I'm a local GP and was involved in a campaign to save maternity services. I think it's great to see that we've got support from local politicians, but we do have to ask searching questions of them, because they all said they supported us in the maternity services campaign and we were badly let down. We asked for a referendum to be held Kirklees wide, and we were let down on that, and we decided as a result of that to stand candidates against local politicians, because we felt that in order to get our agenda through, we had to put up a political opposition to them, that was the only language they understood. But we have to be asking our elected representatives, if the PFI is the reason why these cuts are being made, how do we oppose that? We need to demand that PFI is reversed and immediately. And our elected politicians need to be demanding that of the government. We need to be demanding increased funding in the NHS, because there is a crisis in A&E, there is a lack of staff, and there is a problem being able to provide a decent service across these towns for all the population. We need increased funding to improve our services, and our politicians need to be demanding that. We need to ask them to do that urgently.
Thank you.
And if they don't, we need to stand against them.
Good evening, my name is Michael Kennedy. I'm the resident, panellist and chairman of my home. I also make independent decisions. My first question is, the march has already been organised by a different group. Are we marching with them or separate from them?
I think we all have to march together, don't we?
Right. As long as it's sorted. The second one is more a suggestion. It's to the student union. Perhaps we could do a joint publication weekly and the student section have a separate one within that publication. It would, of course, have to be called University Challenge.
Yeah, thank you. Rebecca, the last question now.
Right, my name's Terry Holworth. I'm from Holmfirth. What I'd like to remind the committee is that you've got approximately 14 weeks before the end of the consultation period. So you can't spend time ruminating. The consultation, this is the second consultation. How many here went to the first consultation? Where at? Where do you go? Slough. That's typical of the number that went. Exactly. Nobody knew about it, and it's the committee's job to ensure that the posters that they produced. I'm sorry, I'm boring you, but
you're not. But what I'm about to say to you is that this has only just been recently formed. It's 11 days old. I'm sure people have been campaigning before, and we're wanting to work together with those people and use their expertise.
Well, that's the next question. I asked what the background of the committee was. How many of you been to a CCG meeting? One, right? I'm not talking about the last one. I'm talking about...
I've been to lots of CCG meetings.
Right. You'll be lucky if there'll be 2 CCG meetings between now and then to protest that. So that needs to be sorted out. And that goes... Right.
Can I say something? Hello, excuse me. Hello, excuse me. Hiya. It's me again. Can I just say that, sorry, last Friday, I don't know what date it was, but anyway, I went to this job at Fixed Pay. Funny enough, it was for an A&E doctor, and I was talking to him for about an hour and a half about things. I got into my car, and then my wife tagged me on the Examiner post saying A&E is closed. Carl, can you believe this? And I thought, what? So I put, no. Within 5 minutes, I set up this page. Within 10 minutes after that, we had 500 members. That Friday night, we had 10,000 members. So all I'm trying to do is make this bigger and make people listen and make it more noticed, because beforehand, obviously it wasn't noticed. Now, it is getting noticed. Everybody's retweeting it. People are doing the things. So that's all I can do. Now, thank you. Now we have 43,000 members with 40,000 signatures on the petition, and it's 11 days old. So,
right.
Thank you.
And what is the petition for? What is the petition for?
To save accident
A&E.
Well, okay. Right, okay. Can I just come in again? No, can I just answer this? Because, right, okay, the first Examiner post initially was to save the A&E. That's how they tagged it. So my post was to go on to that, to save the A&E. If it had saved, save the HRI, I'd have done the exact same thing and put save the HRI. But the Examiner put save the A&E, and I just tagged onto that. So that's nobody's problem.
Fine.
That's not my fault.
Saying, are you going to expand it? Because you need to expand it.
Of course we are.
Because
this is what this meeting's about. Put the question, please.
But to expand it, you need the knowledge. There's a 285-page document, and until somebody reads that, narrows it down, nobody's going to understand it. I've been at this for 2 years.
Can we stop this now? Can you pass the microphone back, please?
One final question.
No, can you pass the microphone? We want to close the meeting. Can you pass the microphone back, please?
Can we keep the politics out of this?
We are doing, and that's what we've said. Can you pass the microphone back, please?
All unison.
Rebecca, pass the microphone back, please.
Put it away. If you want
Pass
to
the
produce a
microphone
leaflet,
back.
take the union banner off it.
Thank you. We want to thank you all for coming tonight. It's been an absolutely fantastic turnout. We will keep you all informed about what our strategies are, and I hope people will come to us at the end to help support us with our strategy. Thank you very much. Thank you.